fan station. The biggest sports stories of the week.
I think that is the attitude you should have. But if the first thing you bring up when you look at the standings is Craig Counsell, then he has real estate in your head.
I don't think you can even argue.
No argument.
The Green Bay
no
Packers
argument
were
the way it ended. But like I just said it, like they were 7-8 last year against everyone besides the Bears, right?
Unique and compelling analysis and opinions when it comes to your favorite teams.
As much as they want, because both teams are good and that game to be
Kyle, you're not feeling this.
Jason knows I'm not feeling
Kyle
that.
and I have already had this argument.
Yeah.
You hate that I feel.
What else was on the WB back then? What else did I miss?
You probably saw the Wayans brothers, right?
Yeah.
The Jamie Foxx show. Come on now, Craig. Come on, Craig. You know the Jamie Foxx show?
No.
You know
This is Sunday Karma, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue. Here's GKB founder and CEO, Craig Karmazin.
Well, we are on the mobile Gruber Law Office's studios today from the Hard Rock Casino in Indiana. Kyle, you didn't want to come with me today?
Yeah, I decided to not go into enemy territory today. Even though you're in Indiana, I mean, so that's not really enemy territory. I didn't want to drive through enemy territory.
No, this is enemy territory. This is Bears country here. I mean, this is, we're in like Gary, Indiana, which is like pretty much Chicago when we're here.
The home of the Jackson 5.
We are at ESPN Chicago's Football Fest today. Our guy Adam Schefter from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy will be here today. The really, really cool event that they put on down here, which I always try to make it to, and appreciate them helping me get set up so we could do the show here. So, Kyle, do you know there's only one team in the major leagues that has won 8 of their last 10 games?
Oh, that one team must be the team that's local here in Milwaukee.
It must be. I mean, at some point, I don't know what the Brewers need to do for people to notice them, and I think the answer is probably win a playoff series. But what the Brewers are continuing to do is just out of this world. I mean, you're looking at a team now that is on a run differential basis is 2 behind the Dodgers for the best in the National League. Like on the year, 114 plus 114 for the Dodgers plus 112 for the Brewers. That's how good they are. If the season ended today, they would be tied with the Phillies for second place, a game and a half behind the LA Dodgers, 21 games above 500 right now. That is how good the Milwaukee Brewers are right now.
No, it's lovely, isn't it?
It's incredible. And, coming home this week for a little quick 3-game set with the Giants, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So a little weird schedule, right? Like, so they were, at home, for that big homestand, then at St. Louis to at Oakland to home to at Cincinnati.
Yeah, that is really weird. Very, very weird.
And then back home after going to Cincinnati. So exciting to see the Brewers playing that way. And is there anything they could do that will give you hope going into the playoffs? Or is it literally like...
It's performance. It's nothing they could do, Craig. We've gone over this year after year after year after year.
But why? I feel like you hold them to such a different standard than you hold the Packers.
No. I don't hold them to a different standard.
I'm saying every year the Packers would go to the playoffs and lose.
Yeah, but it just seems...
But I guess the Packers would win playoff games, which are the equivalent of winning a series, right? Is that how you look at it?
And I think Aaron Rodgers went to 4 or 5 NFC Championship games during his tenure, and the Milwaukee Brewers have only been to 1 NLCS in this last decade. And so that's my whole thing is that for me, you usually know when a team is really good. And I know the Arizona Diamondbacks really came out of nowhere last year, though they made the playoffs. The Milwaukee Brewers, I need to see it sustained throughout the playoffs, right? I have to see the pitching, Frankie Montez, I believe that's how you say his last name. But Frankie, I need to be able to see him be this good during the playoffs. I need to see Tobias Myers be this good during the playoffs. Other than that, we've seen this story before. We've seen the Brewers get far, but not actually win the big game. And so, for me, I'm just happy with the overall season because I know this is the step in the right direction. This is not just like a one-hit wonder with the Milwaukee Brewers. This is a really good organization, a really good baseball team that eventually will break through. Like, I'm telling you this right now, at some point in the next 3 years, by 2028, Craig, not only will we be getting ready for the Olympics, but we'll also be getting ready for either the Brewers going back-to-back or the Brewers about to win the World Series.
Wow. So we talked about my bets that I made at the beginning of the year because the Brewers had the 5th best odds to win the NL Central Division. That's why I think this year people don't fully appreciate what's happened because the Brewers right now have the 4th best odds to win the National League, but when they started the year, they had the 5th best odds to win the NL Central. So it was 6-1. So I put $154.46 on the Brewers.
And how much can you win, Craig? I want to know.
And the payout would be $1,081.22 when they win the division.
Why didn't you call me when you did this, Craig? Why didn't you call me?
And this was the season it started. They were ready like 5-2 or something when I did this.
Yeah, you should have called me when you made. I feel like I gotta go back. I feel like I said, Craig, let me know. I'm in on this. How much I gotta throw to you? You need 50?
That was April 5th. So that was April 5th.
I throw you 50.
Now, 2 weeks later on April 17th, I was like, maybe I'll get a little greedy. So then I put $200 on the Brewers to win the National League. So what do you think that 200 pays out?
That 200 pays out what? $3K?
$8,200.
Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. It could happen, right? Like once you're in the playoffs, it definitely could happen. I have my overall doubts, but it is something that can happen. You pay how much again? You pay $200 to win $8,000.
Right. Right now, if you put that same 200, it'll pay $1,500. So it's not like it's a lock that they're going to win now.
No, but it's still your odds that you had were spectacular.
But for the first time, the Brewers have now surpassed both the Padres, the Braves, and the Diamondbacks all at the same time. So this is the first time all year that the Brewers now have the 3rd best odds to win the National League. So even though for a while they've had the 3rd best record, this expectation was still, hey, in the postseason they're behind the Braves, or in the postseason they're behind the Padres. This is the first time all year that the Brewers now have the 3rd best odds behind just the Dodgers, who are the favorite, and then the Phillies to win the National League. And for a while, the Phillies had surpassed the Dodgers, but most of the year it's been the Dodgers. So,
are you convinced? I mean, right now you're riding on the high of the fact that the Milwaukee Brewers hometown team, we love our Brewers. We love the story that they had this year. The fact that they basically, the starting rotation that you expected when the season begun, thinking maybe Robert Gosser would come up and do well. You get DL Hall. We knew we weren't going to have Brandon Woodruff. You no longer have Corbin Burns. Are you just more so happy and excited that the Brewers have been able to persevere and overcome so many obstacles and barriers this year when it comes to injuries, or you really believe that the Brewers have what it takes to win a World Series?
I believe they have a balanced enough team that they're not dependent on one thing, right? Like their defense is great. Their team speed is great. Their bullpen is great. Like there's a lot of things that are legit. Their starting pitching is not as reliable as the Phillies, right? Like you're not going to put them up against anyone. But the thing that I think about is really like I go back to last year and I'm looking at this bracket. So last year the Brewers were the 3 seed, which I think everyone's fear is like, oh great, they're going to be the 3 seed again and they could lose 2 games and be out, right? And that's what happened last year against Arizona. But last year the Dodgers were the 2 seed. They lost 3 straight games against Arizona and were out. The Phillies last year the Braves last year were the 1 seed. They lost to the Phillies and only won 1 game. So the 2 best teams in the National League last year won a combined 1 game in the playoffs. 1 game. And these are big market, big budget teams, right? The Baltimore Orioles were the 1 seed in the American League last year. They won 0 games last year. So this is not like, oh, the Brewers are just some small market team, so they make the playoffs and they lose early. Like, this happens to anybody. And that's why I just don't want fans to be like, oh, I can't get into the... Like, this is what you play for. 162 games is a long season, and this Brewers team has been so consistently good throughout this whole year. I mean, and I just think it's one of the more underappreciated seasons I think across any sport I've seen from almost any fan base.
I mean, I feel like Brewers fans are appreciating this season, right? I just don't think the championship hype train is as high as you would hope it would be, typically, just because of the simple fact that your fans just are enjoying the ride. Like, I feel like I'm just enjoying the ride this year because we didn't have expectations of championships. When you go into a season with an expectation of we need to win a World Series, we need to be competitive, we need to be there in the end.
I'm saying that
it's so different.
Last year, the Texas Rangers were the 5 seed and won the championship against the Arizona Diamondbacks, who we just said were the 6 seed. Like, you don't need, there's no, predestined teams that get to win.
I think
if you ask people right now, who's more likely to win a playoff game, the Packers this year, or a playoff series, the Brewers this year, people will say it's the Packers.
Yeah. Because the expectation for the Green Bay Packers, right? If we go back to last year, if we have the same
but right now, okay, you know what? Let's ask it. Let's ask it right now. What is more likely to happen this year? The Brewers to win a postseason series, or the Packers to win a playoff game? What do you think that answer is going to be? Throw it up in YouTube if you're watching us on YouTube, ESPN Milwaukee or ESPN Madison. Drop your answer in there. We'll put it up on X. And give us a call right now, or give us a text right now at 800-990-ESPN. It's 800-990-3776. What do you think is more likely this year? The Milwaukee Brewers to win a postseason series, or the Packers to win a postseason game? Drop in those right now. We'll take your calls. We'll take your texts. We'll read your YouTubes. We'll read the X poll results as we continue. That's 800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776. Give a call right now. I would love to hear your answer on this. If you're listening, give us a call right now, 800-990-3776. We will talk about this topic with you because I think Kyle and I are on completely opposite ends of this, and I don't understand why. It's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. Alex Strofe is Mr. Irrelevant.
If you're paying him, the expectations he should be one of the 5 or 10 best quarterbacks in the league all year long.
Tune into ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12:30 for Mr. Irrelevant with Alex Strofe.
So the national expectation is this guy is the real deal. And I believe that. But how real of a deal is he?
Mr. Irrelevant with Alex Strofe every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12:30 on ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
I'm really looking forward to this.
Me too.
She absolutely nailed it.
Are you talking about Jenny Sambeline? Yeah, Jenny and her pendant, the music in a mother's heart.
Hi, Rick. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Monica.
Hi, Jenny. Hi, Jenny.
Jenny, we're going to produce your pendant design as a limited edition collector's item and put a few of them in all of our 8 Kessler stores.
Congratulations, Jenny.
Wow, this is huge.
Jenny, we expect the music in a mother's heart to sell out very quickly.
We'll also make a few available online.
I designed that pendant from the memory of how my mother made me feel when we'd sing together.
How often did that happen?
Constantly. We'd sing along with whatever was playing on the radio, or sometimes we would watch a musical on TV and sing along with that.
At just $124, the music in a mother's heart is going to sell out lightning fast.
I'm buying one.
I'm buying one. I bought the prototype the moment I saw it.
For the location of the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Homer here to tell you about Rawhide Youth Services. Co-founded in 1965 by Bart and Cherry Starr, Rawhide is a faith-based nonprofit that helps thousands of youth every year, many right here in Milwaukee, overcome trauma, suicidal thoughts, and live better lives. For youth who are hurting, who feel lost or abandoned, and families feeling powerless to help them, Rawhide is there to help. They also need vehicle donations to support their mission of helping hurting youth transform their future. Donate to Rawhide Youth Services. Visit rawhide.org/donate.
Derek Jeter for American Family Insurance.
Life's better when you're under the American Family Insurance roof because they'll help protect your family's dreams. Whether it's a kid like me aiming for the big leagues, future rocket scientist, we have liftoff, or a budding prima ballerina, you can count on an American Family Insurance agent to help you dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
I'm Ben Jewick with Coakley Brothers and Brothers Interiors. The crew is winning ball games here in Milwaukee and around the country. Our team stands ready to help your organization win across North America. Powered by Coakley Connect, our revolutionary facilities management platform. The Coakley crew supports clients across the country manage their real estate portfolio, offering facility-focused products and services, interior design, construction, new furniture, installation, and move management. We'll help you create and manage interior environments that drive your teams forward. Visit CoakleyBrothers.com and hit a home run.
Hey, it's Gabe Neitzel from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. You've heard me talk about the results Mentality has had on my life, but don't just take it from me. Jason has had success too, thanks to Mentality.
My only regret is I didn't do it sooner. Knowing once again I've gotten the treatments done and continuing, I do feel, stuff does hurt a little bit more, but I'm 40, in my 40s, and that's going to happen. But again, the energy levels, it is above and beyond. Again, I'm back in that age where I'm like, this is amazing.
Get started today at LowTUSA.com.
The Island invites you to fall into golf with late-season rounds at Sweetgrass or Sage Run. The vibrant fall colors and cooler temperatures make for great days out on the golf course. Fall golf rates run September 16th through the end of the 2024 season, with tee time starting at $75 and stay-and-play packages starting at $110. And submit your 2025 golf package request early to guarantee choice dates. Plan your fall golf adventure today at islandresortgolf.com.
Play with me, stay out the way with me, it get hot like a block on a day when it's 80 degrees. Top out the top on the land, was me and Chance was in Miami like the Heat. Top out the top on the land, was me and Chance was in Miami like Bam. If you gonna boss up, then you gotta learn how to take some losses, bro. What it costs it, bro. I've been smoking
This is Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
I open my eyes and still see smoke. I walk in the kitchen and smell like dope. Woke up with a style, she driving a boat. I've been fighting my demon, whipping the ghost. Part of my glasses, part of my lows. My brother tell me that I'm proud of you folks. I'm gonna show love.
Yeah, I think I was the first vote. I voted on the X poll on ESPN Milwaukee, and the Brewers are right now up 100% to 0 with one vote reporting. I don't know if I've ever done that before. It's been the first vote. It's like when people are all excited that they're the first comment. It is Sunday Karma coming to you from the Gruber Law Office's remote studios today. We're out in Northwest Indiana, Northeast Indiana. I don't have the best geography skills there.
I think that would be Northwest
Indiana at the Hard Rock Casino. Appreciate them having us here as ESPN Chicago is doing their football fest. We are out here talking about the Green Bay Packers, who you have on your shirt, who were one of 9 teams in the NFL last year who won a postseason game, which is more than I would have thought. 9 NFL teams won postseason games. How many teams do you think won a postseason series in Major League Baseball?
4.
Only 5. Because a lot of those teams that won the wild card ended up running the table, right? Texas and Arizona went all the way. Philly won a wild card series and then won a second round series. So it was a year where things were a little flipped, I would say, versus normal, where you only saw 5 Major League Baseball teams win a postseason series, 9 NFL teams won a postseason game. But I think people are forgetting and not appreciating how difficult what the Green Bay Packers did last year was. Winning a postseason NFL game is not an easy thing, and less than a third of the teams in the NFL did it last year. The Packers happened to pull it off, but they did it by going to Dallas as heavy underdogs in a season that was a long shot to make the postseason. And the idea that right now, as we sit here, we know the Brewers have the heaviest odds of any division leader to win their division in Major League Baseball. And to think that even with all of that we've seen, that before the Green Bay Packers have played a football game this year, you have no idea what's going to happen with injury risk, with anything, that fans would believe that the Packers are more likely to win a playoff game this year than the Brewers are to win a postseason series. To me, I just think you're on the wrong side of this, Kyle.
Yeah, it's just I look at the anticipation, what expectations are for the season. I understand that once you actually see the product on the field, how well a baseball team is, how well a good football team is, expectations can change. And so, do I believe the Milwaukee Brewers will win a series? I think they can. I mean, it all depends on what the matchup is. But my level of confidence going into this year is that my expectation that the Green Bay Packers are going to win a playoff series. That is the absolute expectation. Now, if you reverse back to a year ago on August 25th, 2023, and we had this exact same conversation, it would be completely flipped.
Well, no. I mean, when we had this conversation, the debate was that, the Packers were not being honest because it was a rebuilding year, and they weren't willing to admit that it was a rebuilding year. And it turned out that it wasn't true, right?
Exactly.
Like that the Packers were right. And the Packers, I mean, I'm still in awe of what the Packers accomplished last year. I don't think any of us, no one could have fairly seen that coming in Jordan Love's first year, that not only would they make the postseason, but then win a postseason game in Dallas, who Dallas had on their home turf, a dominating defense through half the season, right? Remember there was those stats early in the year where Dallas's defense was scoring more points than they were actually giving up. Their defense was literally scoring more points.
They were eating. They were definitely eating. And again, I understand that. And so that would be the same level of shock that you have for the Green Bay Packers last year. I think it's the same level of shock that you have for the Milwaukee Brewers this year, right? Because going into the season, when the Brewers were 5-2, you made the bet because it was great odds, right? Because people didn't expect this. And so with the way the Brewers have performed, we're excited about them, but I just don't, if they lose in the first round of the playoffs, I'll be disappointed, but also I'll be excited for the future. Just like when the Green Bay Packers lost to the San Francisco 49ers, I was hurt, I was sad, I was upset, but I was still excited for the prospect of the future. And so again, Craig, I understand the Milwaukee Brewers are a tremendous baseball team this year. They are one of the best baseball teams this year in the major leagues.
So, they're the second or third best team in the National League, and right now the Packers are expected to be the fifth best team in the NFC.
Yeah, I mean, but the fifth best team, but between them and the other teams, other than the 49ers, right now, the people aren't saying Detroit's going to win this division. It's already locked up. It's done. How many? And so the Packers are still right there in the conversation with the Dallas Cowboys, the conversation with the Eagles, and the conversation with the Detroit Lions.
I get that. They're in those conversations, but I'm saying the Brewers have already accomplished it over 130 games.
But
to me, that's the thing that blows me away, is that the Packers, who have not played a game this year, are being given more credit by people and by you than a team that's gone out and done it for 130 games.
Because the Green Bay Packers went out and did it last year over what they played, 19 games last year. That's what I was able to see from the Green Bay Packers last year. I'm telling you.
But you're saying that you could see it.
Where the Packers
I don't think you could see that over 19 games. You could maybe say you could see that over the last 8 games, right?
You're absolutely right. We saw over the last 8 games, and so I'm excited to see if this team can sustain the success that they had the last 8 games of last year. But based off what we have seen, based off us signing our franchise quarterback to a humongous contract, based off the reports coming out that Romeo Doubs looks great.
No, I don't think it's about any of that. I don't think it's anything about that. I think it's that we saw the Packers offense look so good last year, and now there's a new defensive coordinator. And I think that's what it's all about, right? Like, I think we all kind of saw that offense last year and it's like, all right, that offense has it figured out, but the defense is a disaster, right? Charlotte, Carolina Panthers, Bryce Young and Baker Mayfield and whoever the quarterback is going to put up 300 yards against this defense, and this defense isn't good. So now you combine the offense we saw last year with the hope that all the talent that's been drafted is going to be put in the right position, bring in a free agent safety, and all of a sudden now this is going to be a complete team.
Yeah, I mean, you should believe it's going to be a complete football team, but regardless of how good the defense is, the offense was able to carry the defense late last year, and so we know they have that ability to carry that defense again this year. But again, I'll go back to this Brewers versus Packers thing. I'm excited for the Milwaukee Brewers baseball season, and how far they go, I'm going to celebrate every accomplishment that they have.
I get that. I'm not saying you're a Brewers hater by any means. I'm just saying that you're.
My expectations haven't changed.
You right now would take the Packers to win a playoff game, which doesn't mean, because remember, if you get depending on what seed, right? Because are you expecting them to be the 1 or 2 seed?
No.
I guess it's only the 1 seed now, right?
It's the 1 seed with the bye. The 2 seed, obviously, you get to play the lesser teams. So the Cowboys thought.
Right.
And so, no, I honestly, I expect the Brewers at this point in the season, I still think the Detroit Lions and the Packers are going to be right there, and I think that the Packers might end up having to get that top wild card spot just because of the fact that the Lions are going to be a season better, right?
And I think either way, I think you'd have to think between the Lions and the Bears that this division is going to be a pretty competitive division. And when you look at the Packers' schedule, no?
Yeah, this is my issue that I have with the Bears talk.
Okay.
Is that just like when it comes to the Milwaukee Brewers right now, where I've seen it on the field now, or in Diamond, I feel confident about them. When I look at the Chicago Bears, let's just hold off on how good we expect them to be until they actually get on the football field. Because as of right now, the Bears last year were an under 500 football team. I know they brought in some pieces, but let's see what the product is. Can they be good? Sure, they could be good. Is Caleb Williams going to be great? We're going to find out. But I'm not going to sit here and say the Bears are going to be in the conversation with the Packers and the Lions and the division is better because they got Caleb Williams.
How can you not put them in the conversation?
Because they need to show it to me first. What if Caleb Williams goes out there and he sucks? What if Caleb Williams goes out there and he struggles? I'm not going to anoint this football team if they're going to be a competitive football team just because they got Caleb Williams. Let me see how the first 4 games goes. If Caleb Williams plays at a high level, then I say, oh yeah, they can join the conversation. But I'm not going to let them just join the conversation because people think that Caleb Williams is going to be good. Oh, they made some good draft picks with Rome Odunze. Oh, they signed the boy from
Keenan Allen?
Keenan Allen, who I love, from the LA Chargers. I'm not going to sit here and anoint them as they need to earn the opportunity to be in the conversation with the Lions and the Packers. They ain't earned that yet, Craig. So I ain't going to sit here and let them be in that conversation until they earn the right to be in that conversation. And so far, they have not done it last year, the year before, and the year before that.
And I think they're clearly third, right? But
maybe.
But I mean, if you're going to talk about the second half of the season, right, and the way they finished, I mean, they won a lot of games. Now,
they look who they played.
I agree. They beat the Lions. That's the team they beat, right? That's it. I would agree. And the Packers, in the biggest spot of the year, the Packers absolutely dominated their offensive line and dominated that game, that last game of the year. And the Packers had constant pressure on Justin Fields and absolutely dominated that game. But, I mean, let's still keep in mind, as we've said, not that far apart. And if Caleb Williams... Yeah, are you just not buying into Caleb Williams?
I think Caleb Williams can be really, 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 really good. But I'm just
as a rookie or just
no. I just want to see it first, right? I'm not. There's busts happen all the time. Busts happen every single year. Matter of fact, when you look at Justin Fields, when you look at Mitchell Trubisky, this in Chicago. They've had guys that they thought were going to be the guy, and they ended up being a bust. And not again. I think Caleb Williams can be great. But let's see first. Bo Nix, I got to see him against the Green Bay Packers carve up our defense in the preseason game and heard he carved us up in practice as well. I think Bo Nix is going to be good, but I'm not going to say that Detroit, because Denver got him, they're all of a sudden going to win 7 games this year. We got to see what these guys look like on the field.
But the Bears won 7 games last year.
But what does that mean? What if Caleb Williams plays to the same level of Justin Fields? Is that going to make them better?
If Caleb Williams plays to the same level as Justin Fields, with how much their defense improved in the second half of the year, and then adding, as you said, a first-round pick wide receiver plus Keenan Allen, a superstar wide receiver. And remember, Justin Fields missed 4 games last year. I think that puts the Bears at like a 9-8, 10-7 type team.
Have you looked at their schedule to see who they have to go through in order to make that? Or we just think that they can win those many games? Because I haven't looked at the Bears' schedule, so maybe they got cupcakes this year. I have no idea. I don't tend to look at who the Bears got because I don't really care about the Chicago Bears. I'm focused more on the Green Bay Packers. Only thing I say about the Bears is they're trash.
And what I'm saying is,
I hope everybody out there can hear me.
And what I'm saying is, I think they're the 3rd best team in the division.
But you think they're a playoff? It's one thing to be the 3rd best team in the division, but you think they're actually a playoff team in the division?
Absolutely. And okay, so they open 4.5-point favorites against the Titans, right?
And they can lose that game.
Right. Then they go to the Texans, where they're a 3.5-point underdog. And my point of that is, so they're bigger favorites against the Titans at home than they are underdogs on the road against the Texans, who won a playoff game last year.
They'll start the season 1-3.
Either way, this isn't about the Bears. It's about the perception of this division is going to be tougher. And so the Packers or the Lions, I don't see either of them getting the 1 seed.
Ooh. Ooh, I agree with that. I think the division, even with Minnesota, Minnesota still has weapons on offense. You add in Aaron Jones, you already have Justin Jefferson, T.J. Hockenson when he gets healthy. You still have threats there on the offense. I don't know what their defense is going to look like. We don't know what inconsistencies or consistencies Sam Darnold's going to have. But I think the Vikings, though we believe they're going to be, the Vikings are going to be the worst team, they still have really, really good 5 offensive skill position weapons on that team that I think are plus guys, right? And so I don't think the Vikings are going to be a cakewalk either.
If you gave me the NFC North or the Philadelphia Eagles to be the 1 seed right now, I would take the Eagles.
Oh, I would too. Because I don't know what you're going to get from the Cowboys this year. I mean, CeeDee Lamb still hasn't signed his agreement last time I checked. So
yeah, and by the way, I think we'd all say you'd probably pick the 49ers over any of them. But if we don't know what could happen with the 49ers. We know they have a tougher schedule, blah, blah, blah. But assuming it's not the Niners, I think I'd go Eagles over the NFC North. We'll talk about with Jason Wilde. He's coming up next. Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Some things are fine to buy from a vending machine, but despite what a certain national online company tells you, a car's not one of them.
Let's see. Cheese Doodles, Mr. Nougat Bar. Oh, here we go. Green 4-door hatchback. Honey, we're going to need some more quarters.
Sure, they make it seem convenient, but it won't be so convenient if you have a problem with the vehicle you buy. And if it's after 7 days, good luck. Adam member dealers also let you search online. And unlike those national companies, you get to see the vehicle in person and test drive it before you buy it. You also have the assurance that the vehicle's been thoroughly tested, and if any issue does come up, your local Adam member dealer is right here to service it, and can also provide low financing and top dollar for your trade. Think about that before you take a chance with their so-called vending machine.
What? It's stuck! No! Oh, rats!
Start your search at ADAMM.com.
The biggest names in the basketball world.
Dame Dollar Lillard.
Having fun and honest conversations.
He puts it in the shoe, right? And sets the tone for brothers and sisters and family.
Every week, Thanasis Adetokounmpo sits down with special guests on Thanalysis Show. Presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel and curbless, ready-to-drink cocktails.
Fantastic.
Find Thanalysis Show on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And on YouTube by searching Thanalysis Show.
Cousin Subs just got better. With our newest mobile app update, we've made it easier to purchase your favorite subs and sides with Apple or Google Pay, and the ability to make split payments. And that's not all. Can we get your digits? Sign up today for our new text messaging program to unlock exclusive coupons and offers at cousinsubs.com or via our app. Cousin Subs. We believe in better.
Who's ready to save a bucket load at Fleet Farm? Just buy one of our signature 5-gallon buckets for $3.99 and get 15% off anything that fits inside it. Save on the best brands in fishing, hunting, and power tools. Save on pet supplies, snacks, and more. Any qualifying products that fit in the bucket are 15% off now through August 28th. Our bucket sale is just another great way to save on everything you need for everyday life at Fleet Farm. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Finally, warmer weather, green grass, birds chirping. Don't spend your weekend surrounded by all that junk. Get your free, no obligation, same-day estimate from Two Men and a Junk Truck. You'll restore your sanity and reclaim your space when Two Men and a Junk Truck pulls in your driveway. Visit twomenandajuncktruck.com for your free, no obligation estimate today.
Keep what you love, ditch what you don't.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Jason Wilde is brought to you by Boucher Automotive, where we ride with you every mile. 18 dealerships, 15 brands, and thousands of vehicles in stock. Check them out at Boucher.com.
We chat with Jason Wilde, who has a breaking emoji that he has posted on Twitter, on X, within the last 12 minutes. Adam Schefter, who is here, I believe will be on site at the Hard Rock Casino in northern Indiana in the next 20 minutes or so, posted that sources say the Dolphins are releasing quarterback Mike White. That was 48 minutes ago. And it was 11 minutes ago, Jason, that you posted a thinking emoji. Good morning, Jason. Care to elaborate?
Thank you for the update timeline.
He's a stalker.
No, not at all. But I do get alerts every time Adam tweets because he breaks so much news, and it's important to stay informed. Yeah, got me thinking, because I think yesterday the drawbacks, if you're a Packers fan, that came out, or if you're Matt LaFleur or Goody, that came out of the final preseason game. You know, you managed to sit all your guys so they can all stay safe and healthy. You don't have to worry about them getting injured in a game that doesn't count. But you probably left saying, well, I don't feel any more confident about my kicking game than I did at the start of camp. And you probably left the game thinking, can we really count on one of these two young fellas to be our backup quarterback and get us through, say, a 4-game stretch if Jordan Love gets hurt, and we can go at least 2-2 to keep our playoff hopes alive? That is why the thinking emoji about Mike White, who is certainly not a Hall of Fame quarterback, but is an experienced backup who has won games in the NFL, got me thinking.
Wasn't there a contingent of Packers fans who were on like the Clifford starting train last offseason?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they were thinking. I think there's probably some other things at work there that don't make a whole lot of sense. But yes, there were those folks, but they were, let me just put it as this, they were misguided. I'll do it nicely.
They were, but I mean, how much is the coaching staff looking at what they saw all season last year as compared to what you see in the preseason?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the most likely scenario is still that Sean Clifford is the backup. I think what the difference is here, and it holds true for both the backup quarterback and for the kicker position, is that when you think, like the Green Bay Packers did last year, do not let any of them try and tell you that they knew that they were going to end the season where they ended the season. Because I'm sorry, they would be lying.
But Jason, I don't think it's fair. You and I both mocked them when they said it wasn't a rebuilding season and all that. And they were right. I mean, I don't know how you can then not at least trust them and believe them when they said it wasn't, and it turned out it wasn't.
Okay, then if no.
I know. The point is, then why would you trade a cornerback or really? Why would you do the things they did? I get it.
And including don't tell me It's not what you say; it's what you do. And look, it's great that they were wrong too. And I would love for some of them, because I know there were some folks that said this to me privately, would say, "Yeah, we were way more successful than we ever imagined. We thought there were going to be the growing pains were going to be worse. We didn't think we'd be in the playoffs." I would love for somebody to say that publicly. They won't now. Just like, Goody suggesting at one point, and it's his guy, and he was right about him. But the idea that Brian Gutekunst saw in 2020 or 2021 how good Jordan Love could be is just not believable to me. And that includes based on conversations with people who were playing with him and people who were coaching him. So my point is that the way things played out last year, you can go through a season that you're not delivering high expectations with a rookie kicker, and you can say things like they said publicly about going through his growing pains with Anders Carlson. You can say things like, we really like Sean Clifford's potential, and we think he can be a good quarterback in this league. when you don't have to say, all right, if we have an injury to our quarterback, we need to find a way to stay competitive during that window, because I don't think he would have been ready to do that. And so it's great that all that turned out to be wrong. It is. Excuse me. But unfortunately, they're in a different place now. And now, if Anders Carlson isn't appreciably better than he was last year, and if Sean Clifford isn't going to be able to get them through games, they have to consider other options. And Matt LaFleur basically said they're considering other options in both those spots.
Yeah, and I mean, if he makes that last 32-yard field goal, is it a different conversation, or are we still having the same conversation about Carlson?
I think here's the problem with that 32-yard miss. It's not that miss specifically. I think it's that miss reminds you of how inconsistent he can be, right? Like, he had just made a 54-yarder earlier in the game. Like, I'll be honest with you, I'm sitting up there in the press box, and my story for the State Journal, I had 2/3 written saying, he has come on strong of late. He has been in a groove the last week and a half. He made all of his kicks today in the Packers win over the Ravens, and then he pushed a 32-yarder to the side, and I was like, I can't rate this because.
And that's at 30. I'm saying, so it's at 30-7 in a preseason game. One miss brings up that many doubts, which shows that those doubts are have always been there. Ultimately,
that's what it shows, is that those have been bubbling under the surface because they knew I got to get out of here. Because they knew, the neighbor let out their dog. So
that wasn't
happy about that.
Oh, so that was your dog reacting to the neighbor dog.
That's exactly what's happening. So that was they don't realize that I'm on at 10:30 almost every Sunday. So look, I think Anders Carlson was still in a good groove up until that kick. But again, the issue is not missing that kick as a standalone kick, because everyone has those moments. It's that we saw that last year. In the last 12 games they played, he missed kicks in 10 of the 12 games. And the issue that shows is that there's an inconsistency where you think he's got things locked in, and then he'll have a lapse. And if it happens at a critical moment, like, say, the NFC divisional playoff round, when you can go up 7 if he makes a kick, that's why it's a problem. And we got to watch during the joint practice, Justin Tucker is obviously the kicker for the Ravens. And getting to watch him and realizing that now, and he's had back-to-back seasons where he was under 90%, which is unusual for him. But that's where the bar is now. Like when Chewy and I talk, or when Tausch and I talk about special teams, those guys played in an era where Ryan Longwell or Mason Crosby kicking at an 80% accuracy rate was good. That's not the case anymore.
Oh, I know, Jason. It's gotten to the point where, like, if you say, like, if we looked at Justin Tucker, like, it's probably been like 4 seasons or 5 seasons that if you had to find 10 missed kicks, the games where he's missed 10 games with 10 missed kicks, I mean, that's now 5 or 6 seasons, I would imagine. I mean, so it's a totally different world. All right, Jason, before we get to this quick break, and then we may have a special guest at some point today, it sounds like. But our question today, and we want you to make your Palermo's pick. And we know with Palermo's, it's tough to pick between Urban Pie, between Screamin' Sicilian, Connie's, all of them.
Yeah.
They're very, very difficult. But we're going to ask you to make maybe as difficult to pick. What is more likely to happen? The Brewers to win a playoff series, or the Packers to win a playoff game? Brewers to win a playoff series, Packers to win a playoff game.
I think both those things are going to happen. So I guess more likely. Boy, here's what I don't like. I don't like a one-game, any given Sunday scenario. So even if the Packers are the better team, even if they're the home team, if they gain home field advantage, whether they get the first round bye or not as the number 1 seed, I think it's much easier to lose one game than if you think you've got a really good team, which I think the Brewers do, despite everything they've been through. I'm going to have to say that it's more likely that the Brewers win a series.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Jason. So through 162 votes on X, the Packers are at 71% and the Brewers are at 29%, which to me...
How did you vote?
I voted Brewers. I mean, you just mentioned it. The Packers don't have a backup quarterback. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, the Brewers...
Oh, stop it. You're talking about backup quarterbacks, Craig.
Yes. I'm saying if you're asking what's more likely when you're 140 games through a season as opposed to 0 games through a season, right now the odds are the Packers are plus 140 to miss the playoffs, which is less than half, but that's like a 40% odds to miss the playoffs. Like, this is, I mean, again, you look at what the Cowboys season was last year, Jason, right? The Cowboys had a dominating season through much of the season.
Best offense in the league.
And remember through 4 or 5 home games, their defense had scored more at home than they had given up, like in home games.
Right.
Like, and then you get into a playoff game where they got dominated by the Green Bay Packers. So to me, this isn't anything about the Packers, because I think my thoughts on what this team is this year is along the lines of what most people think, that like they could contend with the Lions. And this is, I guess I think the Bears are going to be better than people think, but I still think the Bears are the 3rd best team in the division. But to me, I think because the Packers won a playoff game last year, people are underrating how difficult that actually is. I mean, how many good teams there are that don't win playoff games in an NFL season, and why people are underrating what the Brewers have accomplished this year to put themselves in position to do it, just because they have had such heartbreaking ends to their seasons recently.
You could not have said any of that better. I mean, you really couldn't, and that's the reality. The Cowboys are the perfect example. I mean, they were undefeated at home last year, and the Packers went in there and they looked like a team that was completely and utterly overmatched. I know they improved the cosmetics of the final score and had that late rally that Matt LaFleur panicked a little bit in, and put Jordan Love back into the game.
Yeah, but the Packers obliterated them, right?
Yes,
I mean, Jordan Love
exactly.
had a perfect quarterback rating until he went back into that game.
Right, correct, yes. So and that's the point, is that you can be riding high with how good your team was all season. Like, look, I do root for Mike McCarthy. I want him to have success because I think he's a fantastic human being, and I don't cover him anymore. But I didn't root for him in that game because I'm professional, but I thought he had a team that had a chance to get him to another Super Bowl. I don't love Dak Prescott necessarily, and I don't know if they do either, but I thought he might have what they needed to get there and what that would have done for his career and his resume. And the Packers went in there and completely ran him out of their own building. And for that to happen tells you how hard it is, even if your team is good, to make sure that you're on the winning side in a playoff game. So,
and the Packers haven't won a playoff game, right, in 3 years, right? Because they had missed the playoffs in the year before they had the bye and then lost to the 49ers, or am I missing a year there?
No, so they won playoff games in both 20 and 21, or 20 and 19 to get to the NFC Championship games. They lost after the bye in 21. They missed the playoffs in 22.
Yeah, so 2 years, right? So 2 years in a row. I'm saying so. It's not a given to win a playoff game every year, which is why I think on some levels this team has such crazy expectations. Because, I mean, if we're being honest, this team was closer to the NFC Championship last year than it was to any scenario where they would have lost to the Cowboys, right? So they were more likely to win 2 playoff games the way they played than to win 0. So I understand where the fans are. I just think a lot has to happen, and over 130 games, the Brewers have already proven a lot. We'll talk more with Jason and maybe a special guest as we continue with Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
You're listening to Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. Wilde and Tausch.
Did you get nervous as a player, first of all, before matchups with Bruce Irvin or whatever it might have been?
Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Also sponsored by American Family Insurance.
He's such a jerk, isn't he? He just can't help himself. He's got perfect kids. They eat all of their vegetables and everything else. Nothing, but Jason loves to throw pot shots whenever he can. Have you noticed that about him?
Weekdays 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN.
Monica, Sarah, have you heard the good news?
What is it?
Joe Gerke says our new store in Bristol, Wisconsin, otherwise known as Kenosha, will be open this autumn.
Kessler's Diamonds is opening a new store.
Indeed we are. It's located off I-94 and Highway 50.
We should reach out and tell people in the area that we're hiring.
Monica, that microphone is on. Tell them what we're looking for.
Do you love people? Do you smile a lot? Are you the person that all your friends come to when they need help or advice?
Kessler's Diamonds is one of the top engagement ring stores in America.
And we're also the largest employee-owned jewelry company in the world.
You're going to love working for Kessler's Diamonds.
You're going to love shopping at Kessler's Diamonds.
Diamond engagement rings.
Diamond tennis bracelets.
Diamond stud earrings.
Diamond anniversary bands.
And big anniversary diamonds.
We do diamonds magnificently because diamonds are all we do.
To apply for a job or find out more about us, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
There is one thing that you did not avoid this summer, and that is Gruber Law Office's T-shirts. Why do I mention those? It's because it's kind of indicative of what Gruber Law Offices is, right? It is a grassroots, locally based organization that is wherever people are. And that's where people get those Gruber Law Offices T-shirts, at their community events, at their philanthropic things, at the sporting events, every time the Bucks make a three-pointer. And with Gruber Law Offices, you then have the ability to have grassroots, family-owned, but also nationally recognized and only pay if you win. So if you or anyone in your family is ever injured, or a loved one or anyone's ever injured, you know that one call, that's all is a slogan, but it's also a mantra that has allowed Gruber Law Offices to become one of the most successful businesses in this community. And that's how they impact the community. That's how everyone has those Gruber Law Offices T-shirts. So that's why, if anyone's ever injured, remember, it's one call, that's all, with Gruber Law Offices.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher, and summer is here. But if you want your parking lots and asphalt to be ready for winter, you have to remember the 3 R's from Johnson & Sons Paving. Reseal every 2 to 3 years. Repair when you see signs of cracking or potholes. And replace if there's constant standing water, buckling, or sinking. Don't scare customers or tenants away because of a bad parking lot. Connect with Johnson & Sons today before minor repairs end up being huge headaches. Schedule an appointment at johnsonsonspaving.com.
You've probably heard about employee stock ownership plans before, but what separates Fifth Third Bank from others when it comes to these plans? A succession plan that benefits business owners and employees. From full and partial sales, second stage transactions, repurchase obligation financing, and seller note refinancing, ESOPs can offer tax advantages, increased liquidity, employee incentives, and overall diversification of net worth to help your company plan for the future. Fifth Third Bank, National Association. Custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC.
Save big on everything for your next project at Menards. Rust-Oleum's 5-in-1 spray paint lets you choose from 5 unique spray patterns with a twist of the dial. Use it on a wide range of wood or metal projects for long-lasting results. Available in 40 color options at Menards, America's #1 home improvement retailer for customer satisfaction, according to J.D. Power. Visit jdpower.com for details and menards.com for deals.
Save big money at Menards.
Água mais pura da fonte. Água mais pura da fonte. Água mais pura da fonte. Água mais pura da fonte.
I'm fortunate to be alive. Can't explain how I got here, but we've arrived. The deliverance and
Jason Wilde is brought to you by Boucher Automotive, where we ride with you every mile. 18 dealerships, 15 brands, and thousands of vehicles in stock. Check them out at Boucher.com.
Oh, continuing in Northwest Indiana at the ESPN Chicago Football Fest, and with Jason Wilde, who, Jason, you know, when you put a thinking emoji after a man's tweet, he wants to know why, and that's why
Like the bat signal.
Yes, Adam Schefter sits down next to us as we continue. Adam, you just said you didn't even know this show existed.
Craig, I had no idea that you were a man of so many talents that you actually do a radio show. I want to know if Evan Cohn tells you what to say before you go on.
Evan Cohen tells us all what to say as we go on, as Jason can well attest on that. So, Adam, there's been a lot of discussion on this show already today about if this is a 2-team division race or a 3-team division race in the NFC North. How do you see this division?
First of all, I would say this, that football never, or not to say never, rarely goes the way people think it will. Like, we go into the season with these ideas and perceptions, and we get to week 1, and you're like, what happened? And this guy got hurt, and this team won, and that team lost, and this player's out for the year. Like, things change like that. So you could come up with all the ideas you want about the NFC North being 2-team race, 3-team race, 4-team, whatever you want. You'll have a different idea of that division in a couple of weeks, in a few weeks. I'm just telling you that's what's going to happen. Going in today, I would say the Lions are certainly good enough to win that division. We know that. I think the Packers are good enough to win that division. We know that. I think the Bears are going to be vastly improved. It's a different team. And I think the Vikings are going to...
Wait, now you said vastly improved, different team. You didn't say they're a good enough team to win the division.
Well, I would think going in, I need to see more before I'm ready to say that they can win the division, but they are capable of being able to do that. They're probably a year ahead of schedule, but we might have said something similar and a lot less 1 year ago about the Houston Texans, who came up and won the division. That's, again, what I'm talking about. At this time last year, nobody would have forecasted the Houston Texans to be in the spot that they were.
Well, 8 games into the year, you'd be on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, and everyone's talking about, is Jordan Love, a credible starter, right? Is he a bust? And for them to win a playoff game last year, and for the Cowboys not to, who Jason, as you were just saying, was midway through the year looked like the best team in the NFL with your guy Mike McCarthy.
But I said on the show last year at the beginning of the year, I said people are sleeping on the Packers. They're going to win more games than people thought. I remember visiting with the Packers in Cincinnati last summer at training camp. They were joint scrimmaging the Bengals, playing the Bengals. And I remember talking to Packers people there saying, you guys will win more games than people are expecting. And that's what happened in the end.
So, Jason, where are you on this 2-team race or 3-team race?
I'm excited about the Bears. Maybe it's just I've been watching too much Hard Knocks. But as I have said repeatedly, and it's not just because we have great teammates in ESPN Chicago, but from a reporter standpoint, and I'll be curious if Adam would be on this team since you were covering the Broncos when I was covering the Packers early in both our careers in like 1997. So to see what you have become, I don't get to talk to you very often, but I don't know how you do it, but you're incredible. But
he's actually doing it right now. During your answer, he ignored you and sent out 3 tweets. Yeah.
I heard his answer. I heard something about him covering the Packers while I covered the Broncos in 1997. I didn't hear anything else that Jason said at the time, but I do remember that Super Bowl very well. I remember, again, that being a Super Bowl. I remember Pro Football Weekly coming out, and every prognosticator in that particular publication, they all picked the game. Every single one of them picked the Green Bay Packers. I remember giving it to Mike Shea. I said, yeah, you see this? He said, thank you, I'll take that. I said, you got it. And he took the publication. I'm sure he presented it to the team at some point in time, and lo and behold, Denver wins the game.
And now we know why they won, because that you showed that to Coach Shanahan. So I want the Chicago Bears, and I want their starting quarterback, Caleb Williams, to be really, really good, because I want this rivalry that is the most historic rivalry in the NFL's storied history to no longer be one-sided. Matt LaFleur is 10-0 against the Bears. We know the last 30 years what Favre and Rodgers were able to do to flip the all-time series between the teams. I just want it to be every time those guys play twice a year. You don't know what's going to happen, but you're expecting a really good game. And so do I think that Adam's probably right that they're still a year away and they would be ahead of schedule, much like the Packers were ahead of schedule last year if they got, say, the 7th playoff spot and finished 9-8? I do think that would be the case. But I think that this is a 3-team race, but the 3rd team in the Bears is decidedly a little bit lower than the other 2.
As we chat with Jason Wilde and Adam Schefter
I heard him say something. I can't hear every word he's saying because Craig's got the headphones on. But the way I understood it to be is he was talking about the Bears and Packers rivalry wanting to be restored and wanting to get back to what it was. And now it's entering a new era, I guess, with Caleb Williams. But we don't know what Caleb Williams is yet. And that made me think here because I've done some radio spots in Philadelphia where they're always saying to me, oh, the Eagles will win the division, right? They're going to win the division. And I have said to them throughout this offseason, well, yeah, they're the favorite, and yeah, that's what I would expect. But what is Jaden Daniels? And I think we ask, what is Jaden Daniels and what is Caleb Williams and how effective each one is going to be in their rookie year? Obviously, it's probably not realistic or practical to think that either one, Caleb Williams in Chicago or Jaden Daniels in Washington, would be C.J. Stroud in Houston during his rookie year because C.J. Stroud had an all-time historical rookie season, and that's not usually the way that rookie quarterbacks play. But what if Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels both turn out to be the quarterback prospects that everybody says? If that's the case, then Green Bay has a formidable foe for the next 15 or so years in the NFC North. Somebody that's a threat to the Packers ever winning the NFC North, going to the playoffs, because they're going to have to go through Caleb Williams every year if he's what people say he is and what the Bears think he is right now, which I was out at their practice yesterday. I went for the afternoon. That guy is gifted. I mean, he's got a rifle for an arm. He's got incredibly quick feet. He's very mobile in the pocket. He doesn't look to run. He looks to run to set up things because he's smart enough to figure out the creative ways in which he can play. So if he's great, it just changes that division. It changes the NFC, and it makes things really a lot different than they've been here in recent years.
Jason, last question for you on this. We have not mentioned the defense at all. Now that you're through the whole preseason, and I know they were pretty vanilla, is this a dramatically different defense that we're going to see this year for the Packers?
I think it is. In fact, I think my favorite conversation that I had during camp was with Jordan Love about the defense, not about the offense and where things are and who the number one receiver is and what he does in year two of being a starter. But I asked him, because the defense got the better of the offense for most of camp. And I know they were experimenting with some things, and Jordan said not to worry about the offense, and Jaden Reed gave me a hard time for even suggesting that there should be reason for concern. But I said to Jordan, are you kind of looking forward to the regular season, not just because you want to get the season going, but you want other quarterbacks to experience against this defense what you've experienced? And remember, this is a guy that was here for 3 years before he became a starter. He saw Aaron Rodgers with the ones going against the Packers' number one defense. And he said it is a completely different vibe and a completely different defense on that side of the ball. He said there were very rarely open guys for me to throw to. The windows were much smaller, and he was under a lot of pressure. Obviously, you can't hit the quarterback in practice, but you can get after him. His reaction to that question was what sold me that what I was seeing in practice was not an aberration, and that this group has a really, really good chance of being really, really good.
Jason Wilde, you hear him every single day on Wilde and Tausch, 9 to noon at Jason J. Wilde. And we appreciate it as always, Jason.
All right, guys. Take care. Be good.
Thanks, Jason. Continuing on site with Adam Schefter. Adam, first time on the show. It's only been around for like 20 years at this point.
Well, first of all, I had no idea that you do the show on the weekends. No idea until they walked me in from the next room. They said, "Can you come on Craig's show?" I'm like, "Craig's show? What is this?" So, again, I had no idea.
So you don't know what Packers Hall of Fame tight end honed his radio skills on this show for over a decade before becoming a morning show host on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy?
So this is the spot in which Chewy was uncovered as a radio co-host?
This was a spot where he was uncovered as a person who had been kicked out of society. At that point, right? Remember back decades, with what happened.
I remember.
So Chewy was actually the host of this show before me, asked me I was hosting Afternoon Drive. Chewy asked me if I would be his co-host, and I jumped in and did the show, and here we sit 18 years later.
So when he started and he was in the spot he was in at that time of his life, what did you see in him that told you that he would be successful in this particular medium?
So he was an incredible media interview, right? When you'd watch him when he was a player. And I lived here during the whole trial and everything. And what struck me about the trial and the whole thing was here was a guy in his 20s who was hanging out with a friend who was in his 30s who said, hey, I need to go back to my family, my house to be with my kids because this is going on. Mark went with him, obviously shouldn't have, but, was found not guilty in a trial. And the jury went away for less than 90 minutes, including a 60-minute dinner break. Like, that's how open and shut the trial was. So the fact that he had bad judgment, I think everyone understood. But the thing that set it over for me was he chose to live in Wisconsin, right? Like, he could have gotten away. He could have moved away. He kept his family here. He stayed here. He was committed to the community. I knew he was a great interview. So I just wanted to meet him and see, obviously the Packers had cut him. The Packers were trying to get a stadium, so they cut him. Everyone had turned their back on him.
Did he ever play again after that point or no?
Never played again. He had back injuries, could have played for the Saints or Seahawks. Never played another game.
Wow.
We brought him in. No. Which version of the story is that?
I thought you ended up.
No, that's your co-host. That's Brad Nortman who played for Carolina. The punter and a tight end. I mean, come on, Kyle. No, I mean, Carolina. Which version of Chewy's life story is that? So then Chewy started doing the show, started getting, all of a sudden, and the joke on the show was was like, hey, yeah, one day when they induct me to the Packer Hall of Fame, Craig, you'll induct me because you're the only one who had my back when all this happened. So years go by, and all of a sudden he gets invited to a Packers golf outing, and we're like, uh-oh, this is the first step. And all of a sudden he's, they're starting to invite him. And then all of a sudden he gets the call that he's being inducted into the Packers Hall of Fame. So we're weeks before the induction, and he's still telling me I'm inducting him. And it's a joke, right? Because every person who's inducted a player into the Packers Hall of Fame has either been a family member, a teammate, or a coach, right? In the Packers Hall of Fame history. And of course it's going to be Andy Reid because Andy was his tight ends coach, and Andy was the reason he had success in the NFL.
But has he stayed in touch with Andy?
Yeah, he was in touch with Andy. He's in touch with a lot of swimmers. So now we're a month before. And at the time, my significant other's 8 months pregnant. And I'm like, Chewy, we could drop the joke now. Who's really doing the induction? He's like, it's you. And I was like, is this for real? And so I ended up inducting Chewy into the Packers Hall of Fame with a 9-month pregnant significant other there. And it's, it shows the loyalty that Chewy had, once he, was totally back in the Packers graces.
And how many years has he been with the station for now?
He has been with us now 19 years. Wow. I mean, 2005 was his first football season.
I think he played 8 seasons in the NFL. I may be off by a year or two, but look, let's call it 8. So he's been with the radio station for basically more than double the number of years that he played in the NFL.
And by the way, we wouldn't be totally honest when you say, what did I see in him? Here was a guy who Brett Favre was still playing, and he had more insight into Brett Favre than anybody, right? So if you could hire a guy who has that kind of insight into Brett Favre, anyone would do it, right? Assuming morally and ethically he aligned with our company, which I believed he did at that point. So,
well, I'll say this. I've done that weekly show with you guys now for a year and a half, roughly. And every week I do it, I have fun doing that show. Every single week. Now, I know Jen's been off for about 2 months now. She's had a really restful summer, and I would hope that at some point she's going to be back to join in the fun as she continues to take all this time off.
I like how you're saying restful summer as she was literally on College game day in like Ireland or wherever they were yesterday. Jen is constantly on the move between her morning show and her national gig.
Yeah, well, I just haven't seen her on the morning show in about a month now. So, again, I just assume that she's, mailing it in and doing whatever she is that she's doing. So we look forward to getting her back into the fold. But I have enjoyed being on that show whenever Jen is there, along with Gabe and Chewy very much.
All right. Well, this is a not since 1997 when you gave, or 98 was the Super Bowl, I guess, when you gave Mike Shanahan the bulletin board material about the Packers. You have now given Jen some pretty good bulletin board material that I'm sure will be played leading into your next appearance on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Adam Schefter with us. We have our 7 at 11 coming up next. It's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
It's Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Jen Latta here from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. I have told you about the delicious pizza you can find at Proof Pizza inside St. Kate. Now there's even more to be excited about with new sandwiches on the menu. Available every day from 11 to 4, you can enjoy options like the turkey pesto, the meatball hero, the Italian hoagie, and more. Skip the same old lunch at your desk and grab a delicious sandwich from Proof instead. Order inside the restaurant or directly from the bar at St. Kate. Explore the new sandwiches and the rest of the menu at proofpizzamke.com.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Everybody knows, if it's summer season, it's festival season. And Potawatomi has the winningest one, WinFest. You could make it an awesome August with a share of $500,000. Play with your rewards card for entries. Hourly drawings every Thursday from 5 to 8 p.m. $25,000 in cash and prizes each drawing. It's the $500,000 WinFest. Get in on the fun. Only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. More info at pacebig.com. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
The next best round of golf for you will happen at the Wisconsin Country Club. Hey, it's ESPN Milwaukee's Gabe Neitzel. Do what I did. Become a member at the Wisconsin Country Club. There's no assessments, no food and beverage minimums, and a beautiful course that is fun and challenging. Tree-lined fairways, specially groomed greens, and a top 100 teaching pro. Plus, the Wisconsin Country Club has tennis and pickleball courts and a pool with themed Sunday fun days every week. Get started today and visit thewisconsincountryclub.com for membership information. The Wisconsin Country Club, just a fairway away.
The Gridiron Developmental Football League National Championship is coming. On Saturday, August 31st, the Racine Raiders take on the Upstate Predators from New York. Don't miss out on your chance to enjoy real football for an affordable family rate. Buy your tickets now at GridironBowl2024.com. It's Gridiron Bowl 15. Kickoff from historic Horlick Field in Racine happens at 7 p.m. on Saturday, August 31st. That's GridironBowl2024.com for ticket and event info.
You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
1, 2, 3. Whoa! I told them, I told them,
This is Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
With the drip, I'm the flyest. 100,000 hands where the sky is. Told them I'm amazing. They told me I was crazy. Nothing ever changed. I told them I'm a giant.
My bad.
Real African giant. Self-confident, self-reliant. Told them I'm the master.
Sunday Karma continues with you. And is this a 7 at 11, Kyle? Am I on the spot here?
No, we're going to get caught back up. So we'll have a quick segment here, and then we'll come back with 7 at 11.
Okay. Then let's have a quick segment with Adam while he's here. As you know, I told him, like, you're an insider. Find out what's going on. Find out who the Packers kicker is. Find out if they're going to get a backup quarterback. So, you know, I don't think he has any sources. What do you think, Kyle?
Yeah, I need to know the kicker situation. Adam's smart. He has he's around league sources and league circles. He is the league source. Adam, the kicker situation here in Green Bay is terrible. Please tell me there's somebody that's going to get cut that is going to be halfway decent because what we have here in Green Bay ain't it. So tell me, who's getting cut and who can we sign?
All right, Adam. Kyle just asked who is getting cut or who could be help on the way for the Packers from a kicking situation because it is he feels it is an absolute disaster is the word Kyle is using.
We don't believe in Anders Carlson at all?
Did
you trust him?
Did he hear the report when last year when Tom Rinaldi said that Matt LaFleur basically prays every time he trots him out there?
The Tom Rinaldi thing, I mean...
It's the truth!
But Tom Rinaldi, I feel like that was a taken off the record that when Rinaldi said that during the game that LaFleur basically prays every time Anders Carlson goes out to kick. I mean, no coach is saying that on the record to a reporter to use in a game. And, he misses a 32-yard field goal at the end of the last preseason game. I mean, any thoughts? I mean, can you go in with a kicker who's missed kicks in 10 of his last 12 games he's played in? I mean, this isn't like 2 decades ago when kickers made 70% of their kicks. Like, guys go 13, 14 games without missing kicks.
No, and here's the thing. You saw last week there was a kicker traded. Cleveland traded Cade York to Washington for, I believe, a 7th-round draft pick.
And they'd given up on him, right? Like, I mean, Cade York was,
Well, they had Dustin Hopkins, so they knew that Dustin Hopkins was going to be their regular kicker. There are teams that have a couple of different kickers. Like, the Rams have somebody in camp competing with Joshua Carty, their rookie, who was going to win their job, I expect. And so there would be another example of a guy. I'd have to go through I haven't paid that much attention to kickers and who's going to win kicking roster jobs. I'll make some calls and see if I can get any information there. But
thank you, Adam.
My point here is that if they're not happy with the kickers they have in camp, then clearly there's going to be a kicker on another roster somewhere that they believe enough in to give him a chance. That's what I think.
I feel like it's going to be Joseph over Carlson. We'll see what happens, Kyle. We'll see also Adam. We will put him on the spot. Show's over in 45 minutes. We'll see if he has any juice for us on backup quarterback or kicker before the show is out. 7 at 11 coming up next.
This is Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com. All the big plays.
Crushed. Left field. Way back. Gone.
Every single week.
Here's the pitch from Abreu. Oh, he drilled him on the shoulder, and the benches are starting to clear.
Major League Baseball on ESPN Radio happens right here.
In there, and that does it. History in the desert.
Tune in for baseball's biggest matchups here on 94.5 ESPN and streaming on the Wisconsin On Demand app.
Frank Daniels, our Madison Goldsmith, has an idea.
Bring him in.
Hey, Rick. Hey, Sarah. Hi, Monica.
It's great to see you, Frank. What's your idea?
It's a new company policy.
Let's hear it.
You know the world-famous Kessler's warranty?
If you bought it at Kessler's, it's guaranteed. It's just that simple. Even if you lose a diamond, including the center stone, we'll replace it. All maintenance is free forever. Yes, it really is that miraculous.
Every time I hear that warranty, it blows my mind.
I propose we have a jewelry cleaning policy that's as amazing as that warranty.
What would it say?
Bring us your jewelry and we'll professionally clean it. While you wait, for free. You can come in as often as you want, and we don't care where you bought your jewelry. The only thing that matters is that you want it to look amazing again. We want that too.
I vote yes.
I vote yes.
I vote yes. The motion carries.
Congratulations, Frank. Your idea is now company policy.
For the location of the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
They say seeing is believing, and when you see what's inside at American Place Casino, you better believe you're gonna love it. Because when it comes to amazing gaming, we're a real game changer. With the most exciting of table games like blackjack, craps, and roulette, the newest slots, a sportsbook, restaurants, bars, and more. So if you're ready for excitement, we'll see you soon. American Place Casino. Change the game.
Must be 21 years of age or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537.
I'm Ben Jewick with Coakley Brothers and Brothers Interiors. The crew is winning ball games here in Milwaukee and around the country. Our team stands ready to help your organization win across North America. Powered by Coakley Connect, our revolutionary facilities management platform. The Coakley crew supports clients across the country manage their real estate portfolio, offering facility-focused products and services, interior design, construction, new furniture, installation, and move management. We'll help you create and manage interior environments that drive your teams forward. Visit CoakleyBrothers.com and hit a home run.
College students, are you looking to make your campus living more comfortable, functional, and fashionable this year? Let IKEA Oak Creek help. From innovative storage solutions and furniture to maximize your space, to fashionable bedding and accessories to make it uniquely yours, IKEA is helping make college living truly inspired by you. And now, qualified college students can get 15% off their IKEA purchases. Visit IKEA Oak Creek or check out the Ready for College section on IKEA.com/US to learn more.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman here for Carbless, my go-to drink this summer. Handcrafted right here in Wisconsin, Carbless is a ready-to-drink vodka and tequila cocktail. Perfect for hanging out on the patio by the grill, chilling on the lake, or tailgating at the Brewers game. Plus, it's got 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 0 gluten, and just 100 calories. All summer, make sure you're following Carbless on Instagram at Drink Carbless for your chance to win a Summer Bliss prize package. Find Carbless online and at retailers near you. Carbless. Liss is more.
Is your business looking for localized banking solutions and a strategic partner? Fifth Third Bank has been looking forward to the future and helping businesses shape what's next for 165 years and for the last 15 here in Milwaukee. They offer industry-specific expertise, local decision-making capabilities, and extensive experience to help navigate the complexities of a constantly changing business market environment. With your business in mind, commercial banking value only Fifth Third can deliver. Fifth Third Bank, National Association, custom solutions built around your goals, member FDIC.
Aside from a house or a car specifically, what is the most expensive thing you own? Wendy?
A car.
Name an animal with 3 letters in its name.
Alligator. Name something that's better than being rich.
4. Besides a bird, something in a bird cage.
Hamster.
Something that comes with a summer storm.
Snow.
Something Russia's famous for, Bob.
Russians.
Something a burglar would not want to see when he breaks into a house. Rob!
Naked grandma!
Reason you might stay indoors on a beautiful day.
Because it's raining?
Name something you might buy that could turn out to be phony.
Yeah, a horse.
Name a time that most people get up.
In the morning.
A time most people go to bed.
At night.
This is the 7 at 11 on Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin.
Kyle, you want a kicker update or you want to get into the 7 at 11?
Oh, we can get a kicker update.
I knew you'd want a kicker update.
First. That's the most important
By
thing.
the way,
we got the source.
Are the Packers this good that really we're now just worried about a backup quarterback and a kicker? I mean, that's pretty impressive that they've built this team this quickly, that those are your concerns, right? You're not worried about the extra offensive line. You're not worried about the extra offensive lineman depth or any of that. You're just worried about our backup quarterback and a kicker now.
The Green Bay Packers were a field goal kick away from basically going to the NFC Championship game. The NFC Championship game. That's what it was.
Yeah, well, we are... I will not. I mean, only those on YouTube may know who's sitting next to me, or if you've been listening. But sources close to me have said that their best guess is that the Packers may not have their kicker on the roster right now. Who's going to be their Week 1 kicker? Now, this is not a source within the Packers. I want to be clear that. But there's a good chance the Packers kicker may not be on their roster right now.
That's certainly possible.
It is certainly possible. And that's how we're couching this right now. And you know, there's some kickers on other rosters that are potentially going to be cut. Kyle, one guy I just happened to look upon. If you look up a guy named Matthew Wright, Kyle.
Matthew, I'm writing down these names. There's a guy from L.A. that Adam talked about, Matthew Wright. Who is Mr. Wright?
He was a second-time All-AAC twice in 2017 and 2018.
Okay.
40 of 47 in his NFL career, including a 59-yarder. He's been bounced around 4 different stints with the Steelers, including currently on the Steelers roster. But seems to be a professional kicker out of Central Florida who just a name to maybe keep on the radar.
Like I said, it is a high need for this team because the last thing I want to do is have him go out there and lose me some games this year and me be all sad on Mondays.
Yeah, I mean, those kicking, I mean, obviously the NFC Championship was in grasp. I still don't think as you do. You believe they're in the NFC Championship if it wasn't for Carlson.
You defend so differently when you sit there, they have to score a touchdown, right? Versus the fact that they're driving. I mean, they had to score a touchdown regardless, but the mindset of the fact that if they score, we don't lose the football game, right? You can take more chances. You can blitz a little bit more, apply more pressure.
Saying I don't buy that, but it's an argument to be made. All right, let's get into the 7 at 11. What do you got, Kyle, for me this week?
Yes. I am excited for this week because the Wisconsin Badgers are back, Craig. They are back this week. And so for this 7 at 11, what I want to know is the 7 all-time leading passers in yards. Yes, yards in Wisconsin Badger football history.
So
this isn't that hard.
7 leading passers in yards in Wisconsin Badgers history. I'm going to start with John Stocco.
John Stocco, he is number 3 on the list with 7,227 yards. John Stocco is on this list, and this list does include bowl games.
Okay, including bowl games. I am going to next go to, in passing yards, I'm going to go to Darrell Bevell.
Darrell Bevell, who helped lead the Wisconsin Badgers back to the Rose Bowl. Darrell Bevell is number 2 on this list with 7,429 passing yards. So you have number 2 in Darren Bevell. You have number 3.
Did you just call him Darren Bevell?
Oh, Darrell Bevell. I'm sorry. I got my readers on, Craig. Darrell Bevell in number 3 and John Stocco.
All right. So I'm going to go old school. And I'm going to go with Randy Wright, because I believe he played for 3 or 4 seasons.
Randy Wright. He did play for multiple seasons, and he has 4,697 yards, which is good for number 9 on this list.
Oh, no way. I thought he was like my given on the list.
9 on this list.
I wasn't even
Randy Wright played in the 80s, Craig. Let me tell you something about football. Football throws the ball a lot more. College football.
Oh, my God. Because when I got to Wisconsin, he was probably number 2 behind Bevell?
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, actually, yes. He was number 2 behind Bevell.
Oh my God!
Well,
so I assume
and he was number 1 until Darren Bevell came around. Darrell Bevell. I'm sorry, Darrell Bevell. I'm so sorry. He was number 1 until Darrell Bevell came around. But yes, he is now number 9 on this list.
Oh my! I didn't even think there was a chance that was wrong. I was just like, oh, is he down to number 4 or 5 or 6 now?
I just want you to know, attempts-wise, there's guys on this list that he has 669 attempts, and everybody on this list other than one person had more attempts than him.
Man. All right.
Nope, that's it, Craig. Maybe next week. 800-990-3776. For your chance to call in. Craig, how you feel about it?
I'm sad. I could have run the table on this one.
Yeah, you want a mulligan?
No. I don't believe in mulligans.
You don't believe in
mulligans. And that wouldn't be an officially run the table. 800-990-ESPN. It's 800-990-3776. Dude, you wouldn't believe what Schefter was doing, by the way.
What was he doing as I answer phones?
I'll let you. He was like texting GMs. He was texting like all this stuff to find out our little Packers backup quarterback and kicking situation, just to see what was going on here. So, always nice to have our resident insider at ESPN with us here today in studio, which is really cool. 800-990-ESPN. It's 800-990-3776. As we're looking for the top 7 Badger quarterbacks all time in yards. And we have Darrell Bevell at number 2, and we have John Stocco at number 3. Randy Wright guessed incorrectly. And who do we have up first?
We have Ray, who is a special ed teacher in Racine.
What's up, Ray?
How you guys doing today?
Good.
Yeah, I'm on my way I coach football at Racine Horlick, so I'm on my way to our coaches meeting right now and listening to you guys. Love listening to you guys, and this is just right up my alley. So,
let's see if you do better than I do, because I would have sworn that Randy Wright would have still been top 7.
Let me. I'm going to start with my boy Joel Stave.
Joel Stave is on that list, Craig. Up and down in the sense of fans-wise, underthrowing a lot, but he threw a lot of touchdowns, a lot of completions, and a lot of yards, and Joel Stave is number 1 on the list with 7,635 yards. He had over 1,000 attempts as the quarterback of the Wisconsin Badgers.
Nicely done. Do you have another for us?
Yeah, my buddy Alex Hornibrook, get horny, baby.
Oh, wow.
Alex Hornibrook. No way.
Oh, wow. Alex Hornibrook.
No way.
Number 4 on the list with 5,438 passing yards. He had over 700 attempts. Craig, it's about how many years you started, right? A lot of opportunities in a passing league that college football is now. So we have Joel Stave at number 1. We have Mr. Darrell, not Darren, Darrell Bevel at number 2. Number 3, John Stocco. Number 4, Alex Hornibrook. We are now listing number 5, 6, and 7 on this list.
Basically had one full season, right? He had the one. I mean, most of the season, I guess he had almost 3 full seasons, but he pretty much, wow, that one.
We run him out of town.
All right, I would not have run the table because I would not have had Hornibrook.
All right, who else do you have here, Ray?
I'm going to go a little more recent with you guys. I'm assuming it's Graham Mertz.
Oh, wow, this guy's good. Yeah, Graham Mertz, number 6. And again, what does it come down to? It comes down to the ability to have as many games played and playing for as much as possible. He had 773 attempts, which he passed for over 5,405 yards, which is good for number 6 on this list. We are now missing number 5 and number 7 on the list.
I'm going to go a little bit further back. Guy in the late 2000s. I'm going to go with Tolzien.
That's who I was. Yeah, I definitely would have gone him over both of the previous 2. But
Scott Tolzien is number 7 on this list with 5,271 yards. Listen, the Green Bay Packers looking for a backup quarterback. That's exactly what Scott Tolzien is and what a lot of Wisconsin.
Hey, Scott Tolzien pulled out a big tie for the Packers one year, and if they hadn't had that tie, they wouldn't have won that division once Aaron came back. Scott Tolzien is a key figure in Packers history as well as Badger history.
I love it. And now we are missing one name on this list. Ray, can you do something Craig could not do? Is basically run the table.
Well, Craig, you're a fantastic guy. You do a lot of great things for the community. It's just sometimes you got to go Badger Nation, and you got to finish it off early 2000s. BB Brooks Bollinger.
Brooks.
Hey, Ray entertained us with that one too, Craig. Guess what?
Brooks is not on the list.
Oh, Brooks is on the list.
Brooks is my guy. I love Brooks.
On the list, number 5.
I wanted Brooks to be my final when I ran the table, but I was not going to get Hornibrook. Brooks is my guy. We love Brooks from the day. I mean, Kyle, you know that was how we met Barry Alvarez.
Really, through Brooks?
Was me on the radio saying that Bollinger should be starting over Kavanaugh, and that why is he starting this senior who can't play as compared to this freshman who, in his own words, played better than he practiced at the spring game, and he's got to get Brooks in as the starter.
No,
and then he said, they'll both
right?
play a little. And then they lose to Cincinnati with Kavanaugh starting. They lose to Michigan, and then Brooks comes in, starts at Ohio State. They win. They never lose again. They go to the Rose Bowl, and the rest is history.
Yeah, Brooks Bollinger, really, he was part of you had Ron Dane. I think Ron Dane Brooks' first year was Ron Dane's last year.
Yeah. Because Ron played with Mike Samuel. Mike Samuel was Ron's quarterback, for the majority of his career, and then he played with Brooksy,
As a young kid coming of age, really being able to have the Badgers ride that high and then being able to watch Brooks Bollinger ball out there on the football field helped just grow how much we loved our Wisconsin Badgers. So, yes, Brooks Bollinger is number 5. Congratulations to Ray.
Ray, you the man. Excellent work, Ray. You're teaching those kids with some good heritage that you have of watching the Badgers for all these years.
Thanks, boys. Just getting excited to watch Jump Around this year and every year. So go Badgers.
Yeah, thanks.
Happy Sunday.
Yeah, happy Sunday to you. That Ray's call got me excited for this football season.
Yeah, as we should, as we have Tyler Van Dyke as the new quarterback for the Wisconsin Badgers, who kind of tore it up down there in Miami. So I'm excited to see what this football season holds.
Yeah, this is a. So have you looked at? I'm just pulling it up now. to look at the way the Big Ten season starts, and as the Big Ten has gotten quite interesting, right? Like when you look at who's actually in the Big Ten and when teams start playing, when you start seeing those random matchups and random teams playing each other. Like when I'm like, I'm looking at the Big Ten schedule and I see that USC plays LSU on September 1st. Which is the Big Ten team there, right? Like it's wild to think that not only is this coming, but it's actually here already. The whole reshaping of the Big Ten. I mean, are you actually ready for Wisconsin to go to USC on September 29th?
No,
or September 26th?
I am ready for it, right? Wisconsin has tended to do pretty decent against them. I mean, when they last two times they played USC, they've come out with victories, right? Granted, it was in bowl games.
I know, but it's just crazy to think the Badgers have back-to-back games this year against Alabama and USC.
No, it is crazy, and what I love about it is that this is why NIL is so important. This is why the coaching change that we made and being able to recruit is so important, because the Wisconsin Badgers, they have to be able to compete. They're going to be on the main stage. They're already on the main stage, but now they are going to the West Coast, and they're going to be able to recruit guys and play in front of guys. They have to be prepared and ready to go.
By the way, how about this? How about this for a little run? Home against Penn State on October 26th, then at Iowa on November 2nd, and then home for Oregon on November 16th. How about that for 3 straight games?
That is not easy. It's not easy, but this is where you got to compete, right? You got to compete. What do you think? Looking at the schedule, just a quick
dude. When I moved here, I was like trying to figure out the difference between Oregon and Oregon, like the town in Madison.
Oh, now we're gonna get a crash course of it, because now people are gonna say the two different. You're gonna know how to say Oregon versus Oregon for sure.
Exactly. The fact that one of them is in the Big Ten now is unbelievable. I still think 27 years later, I don't know which is Oregon and which is Oregon, but I know that one is the state and one is the town in Madison.
One matters more than the other, and let me tell you, it's all about Wisconsin, baby. So Oregon it is.
Yes, it is. But I'm saying it is so wild to think about how different this season is going to be. So can't wait to
win total. What's the win total, Craig?
Man, we both went over last year, and we were so off, right?
Yeah, it was disappointing. Very disappointing.
There was so much optimism going into last year. So much optimism. I'm just looking at right now, Alabama's a 9.5-point favorite in that game. USC is a 5.5-point favorite.
You got a chance against Alabama. This is perfect, right? Because
Penn State is a 6.5-point favorite, and Oregon is a 10.5-point favorite.
When's the last time Wisconsin went into a season where, like, 4 of the first 5 games or 4 of the first 6 games they're looked at as underdogs?
Oh, no. I mean, those aren't 4 of the first 6.
Oh,
those are the toughest. No. Oregon's like third to the end of the season.
Okay.
I'm just saying you have those 4 games that are kind of those signature games of the season, and all 4, they are underdogs, and that doesn't count the Iowa game, right, which is the other team that is currently ranked that they play. So when you look at ranked teams they play, Badgers are home against Oregon.
Yeah.
Which they're a 10.5-point favorite underdog against. They are home against Alabama, which Alabama's a 9.5-point favorite. Mm-hmm. So they have number 3, number 5, and then they're home against Penn State, who is the 8th-seeded team, who's currently a 6.5-point favorite. So they have 3 of the top 8 teams in the country are coming to Camp Randall Stadium this year. I heard Missouri's coach saying, like, you can't pick and choose when to get excited. Like, if you're going to have a good year, you have to get excited from the beginning of the year. Like, Badger fans are going to need to get excited from the beginning of the year. Western Michigan and South Dakota, I get it. But if this team's not ready to play for that 3rd game against Alabama, and then you have USC the next week at USC, I mean, this team's got to get everyone's got to get it together quickly this year.
No, I'm excited because you got Alabama on a year where you have some changes. So, you don't know what Alabama 100% is going to be. You're going out to USC. It's going to be tough, but they had a change at the quarterback position. And then also the good thing is you get Oregon in November, and November 16th could be 50 degrees or it could be 5 degrees. I prefer 5 for those West Coast boys.
Yeah, this will be a fun season. And you think about, as we've talked so much about the Brewers today, with as good as the Packers are, as good as the Bucks are, as interesting as this Badger season is, combined with the Brewers going into a postseason, this is a great, great time to be a Wisconsin sports fan. As we'll continue with you, it's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
There's a good chance you're on a budget. We all are. But she wants a diamond. You know it. I know it. And Robert Hack Diamonds knows it too, because they offer a huge collection of lab-grown diamonds, and they sell them at crazy prices. How about 2-carat total weight diamond studs for $8.95? Robert Hack Diamonds can get any size, shape, or clarity in natural or lab-grown diamonds. Don't buy until you call Robert Hack Diamonds. $8.95 for a 2-carat pair of diamond studs. Oh, baby! Robert Hack Diamonds in Greenfield and in Brookfield. Why overspend when you can save at Robert Hack Diamonds for the same diamond you're looking for? Some jewelers are charging nearly $5,000 for a lab-grown diamond. Not Robert Hack. Your visit will be worth it, and she'll think so too. Robert Hack also offers repair services in cash for your old gold. But remember, before you do anything, as I did, RobertHackDiamonds.com, and visit them in Brookfield or in Greenfield.
The Island invites you to fall into golf with late-season rounds at Sweetgrass or Sage Run. The vibrant fall colors and cooler temperatures make for great days out on the golf course. Fall golf rates run September 16th through the end of the 2024 season, with tee time starting at $75 and stay-and-play packages starting at $110. And submit your 2025 golf package request early to guarantee choice dates. Plan your fall golf adventure today at islandresortgolf.com.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher, and summer is here. But if you want your parking lots and asphalt to be ready for winter, you have to remember the 3 R's from Johnson & Sons Paving. Reseal every 2 to 3 years. Repair when you see signs of cracking or potholes. And replace if there's constant standing water, buckling, or sinking. Don't scare customers or tenants away because of a bad parking lot. Connect with Johnson & Sons today before minor repairs end up being huge headaches. Schedule an appointment at johnsonsonspaving.com.
For your next night out, make Aria, the acclaimed restaurant inside St. Kate the Arts Hotel, your dinner destination. Aria, nestled on the second floor of St. Kate, is an artful dining experience that captivates with its culinary creativity. Delighting in its offering of artisanal American cuisine, the restaurant transcends tradition and leans into the realm of playful and inventive flavors. Come and experience the magic of Aria, where every bite is a work of culinary artistry. Learn more and make reservations at aria@stkate.com.
This is ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman. You hear me talk all the time about Bank 5-9 and their mission to make lives better. That mission extends beyond their customers and communities to their employees. Bank 5-9 was just honored again by Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel as a top workplace. That makes 15 years in a row. They were named the #1 mid-sized employer in the region and earned special recognition for the company's overall direction. Want to learn more about working with my friends at Bank 5-9? Visit bank59.com/careers. Equal opportunity employer, member FDIC.
Finally, warmer weather, green grass, birds chirping. Don't spend your weekend surrounded by all that junk. Get your free, no obligation, same-day estimate from Two Men and a Junk Truck. You'll restore your sanity and reclaim your space when Two Men and a Junk Truck pulls in your driveway. Visit twomenandajuncktruck.com for your free, no obligation estimate today.
Keep what you love, ditch what you don't.
It's Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Oh, continuing with you on Sunday Karma. And probably worth looking back at our poll, see if things have adjusted. As Jason Wilde voted with the Brewers on this poll. We'll see what where the poll stands. As we want to know, what do you think is more likely to happen? Brewers winning a postseason series or the Packers winning a playoff game? And with 245 votes in, it is 71% Kyle Wallace and the Green Bay Packers.
Woo, it's a boat race. It's a
29% Brewers. I kind of think like in Wisconsin, if you just left the poll blank and just said Packers and then like anything else.
Oh, Craig, come on, don't do my people like that. See, I got a pulse on Packer Nation, Brewers Nation, and all Wisconsin fans. And I'm telling you, it comes down to the expectations. And we expect the Milwaukee Brewers to be, a team that potentially could win a playoff series. But we know that the Green Bay Packers are going to win a playoff game. We feel confident. I shouldn't say we know, but we feel confident in that. And like I said before, Craig, if you go back a year, everybody's choosing the Brewers. So you go back to 2023, this poll will be 71% Brewers, 28% Packers. But we know what we're going to get from the Packers.
But again, this is nothing against anything about the Packers. It's about the fact that the Packers are, haven't started their season, and the Brewers have already accomplished so much, and we've seen so much. So here are the odds right now, Kyle. The Packers to miss the playoffs right now are plus 140. The Packers to lose in the wild card round are plus 260. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So if you combine odds on, you can't really combine, but if one or the other of those were to happen, that's about 50%.
Yeah, you see, Craig, the problem is that you're using odds, right? You're using Vegas. I'm using fandom. I'm using my eyes. And what my eyes tell me is that the Milwaukee Brewers, in past history, are a good baseball team, but they seem to struggle when it comes to the playoffs. You can't sit here and tell me heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak, and then we move on from our manager that was a really good manager in Craig Counsell. We move on from an ace in Corbin Burns. We don't have Brandon Woodruff, our second best pitcher from previously before. We no longer have Freddie Peralta pitching he's having a down year, right? So we have all these different things against us. We have a younger roster, and you're going to tell me that this is the team this year, in year one under Pat Murphy, these are the guys that are going to win a series? That's just hard for us to understand. We don't think the Brewers aren't good. We just have more confidence in the Green Bay Packers.
But if you look at things right now, we're not saying to win to go to the NLCS even, right? Because if they're the 3 seed, it just means beating someone 2 out of 3 games. Right? Beating, Padres or Braves. That's who you're probably looking at, right? You're probably, it's
that's
really
not an easy task.
It's basically the Braves.
I can tell.
Right now, you would expect it to be the Braves.
When you read those 2 teams' names off in your head, I know what happened, Craig. You said, "Oh, that's tough." Padres or Braves are both tough. I know the Braves. Ronald Acuna is out. And so I understand that they have some issues there, but still, they're a championship pedigree type team. The San Diego Padres are just a team that has a whole lot of talent, and it's going to be a tough task for the Milwaukee Brewers to beat any of those teams. Whereas when I look at the Green Bay Packers, what they did against the Dallas Cowboys on the road as a 7 seed was all we needed to see as Packer fans to feel confident enough going into the season this year and the playoffs hopefully this year that the Green Bay Packers should be at least going to the NFC Championship, at least.
Did you just say at least going to the NFC Championship?
At least it's a failed season if the Green Bay Packers don't go to the NFC Championship.
So who are they better than, the 49ers or the Lions?
They're just as good as the Lions, and they can go toe-to-toe with the 49ers. We'll see without Brandon Ayuk how good the 49ers, they're still going to be a really good football team, but you were able to compete with them last year as pups. Now these pups has turned into little dogs.
What do you mean without Brandon Ayuk?
Brandon Ayuk is not going to play for the 49ers this year.
Well, if Brandon Ayuk is not in the postseason with the 49ers, then they will have traded him for something of current value that's going to make them better. Because I don't think the 49ers are playing for the future. So I'm not hating on the Packers with any of this. This is all just to bring to light that I feel like the excitement level leading into the Brewers postseason should be at a huge high. And the idea that, because they may have lost, because the Packers lost to the 49ers last year doesn't mean that you're not going to be excited if they play the 49ers in the first round.
It's a more encouraging loss, Craig. It's more encouraging when the team loses, when they exceed expectations.
Right,
not only
all of those
round
years,
one, but round two.
all of those years
did not exceed expectations.
When Aaron Rodgers was the 1 seed, and lost to the Buccaneers, it wasn't like the next year we're like, they're the 1 seed.
Craig,
the Packers aren't going anywhere.
What did you said when who? When who lost?
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. There ain't no Aaron Rodgers on the Milwaukee Brewers. When you have Aaron Rodgers, you have
That's
hope.
fair.
It
totally
always
fair.
have hope.
Right. That is fair. Right. That you could say that going into any postseason series, you won't look at the Brewers as having the best player in any series. I think that's fair to say.
Our best player got back issues.
Right, but I also think the best player in Major League Baseball until Shohei Ohtani, well, let's say until Shohei Ohtani got traded or until signed a free agent contract, he and Mike Trout may have been the two best players in baseball, and they couldn't even sniff the postseason.
Sure couldn't.
Right? I'm saying like that's not what determines who's great in baseball, and that's why this Brewers team has proven that, right? The fact that with Christian Yelich out, I mean, the fact that Chourio, no one hits 300 in baseball anymore. He's hitting over 300 in June, July, and August.
Stud.
In 3 consecutive months, he's hit 300 for a guy who's learning the league right now. It's incredible what we're watching every night.
And this is why, as a Milwaukee Brewers fan, this year is a bonus, right? Like, they are a step ahead of what we expected them to be, and more than a step, they're universe ahead of what we expected them to be. So for
I think this is a regular season that has outperformed expectations in excess to what the Packers did last season. The Packers last season postseason outperformed expectations to just an incredible level, right? I mean, they were a double-digit underdog, I think, right? 8 or 9 points at best on the road against Dallas, and went in and played a dominating performance. So what the Packers did in that one postseason game and then backed up by playing really well against the 49ers, and even to the end of that game, like, it's not like, right.
They scored with less than 2 minutes left.
Carlson missed a terrible kick. Jordan Love threw a terrible interception. The defense gave up a touchdown drive, and McCaffrey had a big second half. But overall, the Packers showed themselves incredibly well, even with a defensive coordinator who was about to get fired, right?
They did.
In that postseason. So, but I'm saying if you look at regular season last year, Packers, regular season this year, Brewers, the Brewers have exceeded that expectation. So with a similarly young and exciting team, there is no reason why that energy shouldn't be at a peak level going into this postseason. We'll have our Palermo's picks as we continue. It's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Hey, it's Gabe Neitzel. Join myself and Stephen Watson every Tuesday night at 6 here on 94.5 ESPN for On the Tee, presented by Wisconsin Golf Trips. Each and every Tuesday, Stephen and I are going to give you the latest in Wisconsin golf, sprinkle in some of the latest in our own golf games, plus talk about professional golf. Get your golf fix each and every Tuesday night at 6 with On the Tee, presented by Wisconsin Golf Trips, right here on 94.5 ESPN, or listen back to the show with Wisconsin On Demand.
One call, that's all. That's Gruber Law Offices. And that means with one call, you are taken care of. It doesn't mean it's one call and the work's over. It doesn't mean it's a transaction. It's a relationship. With one call, your stress is over. With one call, you know it's only pay if you win. With one call, it's someone who is going to let you know when you should be making the decisions involved with what for you may be a once-in-a-lifetime situation, but for them, they've dealt with tens of thousands of local Wisconsin people in your situation over the previous 30-plus years. That's why if you or a loved one's ever injured, I would recommend that you remember that one call, that's all, is what puts you in touch with Gruber Law Offices.
Do you know or work with kids who have special healthcare needs? Help them live their best lives. Contact Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network. Our specialists will connect you with services in your area. Wisconsin Wayfinder is free and confidential. Call 877-947-2929 or visit dhs.wi.gov/WISCWAY. Connect today. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Do you remember that electric moment when you suddenly realized that she was the one?
The one you were going to love forever.
The one you'd been waiting your whole life to meet.
She is the one.
The one.
Now it's time to find the one engagement ring that sparkles like she does.
Come to Kessler's Diamonds. We have a collection of incredibly special diamond engagement rings called the One Collection.
You need one special engagement ring for the one woman you will ever love.
Kessler's Diamonds is the one jewelry store where you can find the One Collection.
And Kessler's is the one store that offers the world-famous, no excuses, no fine print, lifetime warranty on every diamond engagement ring we sell.
We have the free freedom to do this for you because Kessler's Diamonds is the one diamond store owned by its employees.
The One Collection starts at just $550.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Get everything for your next project today at Menards and save big money. Suncast storage sheds are the perfect solution for protecting and organizing your outdoor tools and lawn equipment. Plus, they're low maintenance and easy to assemble. Save big on all Suncast storage sheds today at Menards, America's #1 home improvement retailer for customer satisfaction, according to J.D. Power. Visit JDPower.com for details and Menards.com for deals.
Save big money at Menards.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. It's racing season at the legendary Great Lakes Dragaway, and our schedule of events is ready. We've still got our yearly holiday weekend races like Labor Day weekend, plus Nitrous Streetcar Brawl, Import Wars, and Night of Fire. You can also book corporate and private events. Take advantage of our season-long passes and even schedule a time to take your car down the legendary quarter mile. Go to GreatLakesDragaway.com for pricing and info. Great Lakes Dragaway, just a burnout west of I-94 on County KR. Be there.
It's that time.
Yes, it's finally here.
Craig makes his picks of the week.
You can bet the house on it.
Picks of the week on Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin. Presented by Palermo's Pizza, Wisconsin's hometown pizza.
Can't wait to see what happens next.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Oh, Kyle, we talk about Palermo's Pizza all the time. But one of the things I want to remind you of are Screamin' Sicilian's Nothing But Toppings. Have you tried one of those recently? Absolutely fantastic.
I gotta try. I saw it at the grocery store, but I gotta try it.
You gotta hit it. The thing is, because are you trying to be healthy a little bit?
No, I let that go. Every time I see food in front of me, I eat it. So yeah. I'm okay with where I'm at.
See, that's the thing. Like, to me, like pizza, you have to figure out when you're trying to be healthy, when you're not trying to be healthy, right? Because pizza's so good, you got to mix it in at any time. So like, all right, I'm trying to be healthy, maybe I'll go thin crust. I'm trying to be healthy, maybe avoid some carbs. I'll go with only the toppings from Screamin' Sicilian and Palermo's. Okay, now I'm trying to just enjoy anything I can enjoy. I'm going to now hit my Screamin' Sicilian with all my different toppings on it. Like, that's the beauty. Pizza is so good that it can fit any of your moods. And with Palermo's, you have a Wisconsin-based company that has so many different brands for you to be able to enjoy. Connie's, which is the Chicago-style pizza, which where I'm down here today. But you have Palermo's, you have Urban Pie, you have Screamin' Sicilian, you even have your fancy, flaky, crusted Netflix pizza, which is
ooh, I love that. The Surfer Boy.
Surfer Boy, so delicious. I love the Surfer Boy pepperoni. So whatever it is, you're supporting a Wisconsin brand that employs Wisconsin people and gives back so much in this community. Palermo's, Wisconsin's hometown pizza. All right, Kyle, I got to understand your mindset because I'm here in Chicago, so we've talked about the Bears way too much today. I want to understand how many episodes of Hard Knocks you've watched.
Exactly as many as probably most people in Wisconsin. Zero. I heard it was boring. I don't have time to waste my time watching a boring football team. Bunch of losers.
Now, if it was the Lions, would you have watched 0 episodes?
Oh, it was the Lions. I would have watched it. The Lions are intriguing. I watched the receiver, and they have an intriguing football team. Very, very positive. Have you watched this?
You know what? I have not watched Receiver yet. Someone told me yesterday. Is that worth watching?
Yeah, it's good. It's definitely good. And as a Packers fan, the thing I loved about it is that early on in the season, they showed a playoff picture, and they also showed the divisional standings for the NFC North. And seeing the Packers towards the bottom of the standings and seeing them not in the playoff picture, and then knowing that the Packers played against the Vikings, that played against the Lions, and we got our lick back against both those teams, it was exciting for me to be able to watch it. And even though the NFC Championship game was tough,
had you watched Quarterback on Netflix?
I had watched Quarterback as well.
And so I thought Quarterback was okay. The reason my knock on that was, it was cool seeing Mahomes and all that, but they had Marcus Mariota on that show, and when he disappeared from the team, they didn't give you any unique perspective, and to me it was so sugar coated that I didn't feel like it was real. Are you feeling like with with Devontae and with the stuff, you're getting the real deal?
Devontae kept it too real. Devontae found out that the grass is not greener on the other side and that playing in Green Bay is actually something that makes it very, very special because they're sitting there smoking cigars after a victory, whereas the Green Bay Packers don't smoke cigars unless they win something of significance. So
did he say that or
no? He smoked. He just talked about how frustrated he was just overall with the quarterback play because they had multiple quarterbacks throughout last year. I think at least 3. They were throwing him the football and throwing bad passes, getting him killed. This is really interesting to see the other side of Devontae.
So you say the Palermo pick is, as a Packer fan, if you want to feel good going into this season, you are better off watching Receiver on Netflix than you are watching Hard Knocks on Max because we don't need to see a hype thing about the Bears, but seeing Devontae being miserable, being away from Green Bay is worth watching.
That is absolutely correct. You stole the words right out of my mouth, Craig. Thank you for speaking for me.
All right, there's your Palermo's picks brought to us by Palermo's Pizza, Wisconsin's hometown pizza. Thanks to everyone out here who helped get us set up. Really appreciate the ESPN Chicago team out here. Excited to be back in studio next week for the show and at some point to pay off our bet from last year, which I know we'll be talking about coming up. So stay healthy, stay together, survive today, thrive tomorrow, don't settle. You have been listening to Sunday Karma on ESPN Wisconsin. Thanks to Jason Wilde. Thanks to Adam Schefter for joining us. Kyle, send us out.
Peace.
This is ESPN Wisconsin and ESPNWisconsin.com.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
Take me out to the ball game.